You touched on a couple of times in the interview is just how much things have changed over the years as far as, you know, the new generation today that are, you know, involved in Crip essentially. And, you know, you said earlier it's like when you started, you know, people didn't necessarily get jumped into the gang. There weren't necessarily initiations the way maybe they are today. You know, I've heard stories of initiations where young guys are sent, you know, to shoot people.
Oh,
as an
that was the
initiation.
era. It wasn't from our era.
Yeah.
When you came in our era, you came in knowing what to do. Then you get them as they get older, and it got bigger. Now you got them passing down the line where I done been to where you tell them, hey, and you know, that's how they go. You got 50 years of this going on. So all that's been done and tried before, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And that's what, we ain't asked nobody ever, ever during our era to get involved, period. And now you try to blame it on the OGs, which ain't everybody a OG. See, they changed that. OG, when it first started, stood for Original Crip. That's it. Now it stands for Original Gangster. And that'll make people think, oh, they were there at the beginning. Oh, that solidified him. So I don't even like the term OG because it stigmatizes and put a devalue on you. What do OG mean? You can ask a million people. You'll get a million different answers. So I don't like that terminology. And like I said, it is what it is. I know what it is to be young. I know what it is to be in this game. I know what eras, what you're doing. But when you 40, 50, and still talking about you gangbanging, you must have started at or late in the game. Or wasn't a nobody if you want to be a somebody, if that's what you want to brag about, being a gang member and having 60 arrests, 32 years. I don't know about bragging about that. I'd rather had heard I played basketball, which I could have, I went to school, I own a house, I got all this from hard work. So I'm not gonna sit up here and make you think it's glorious and it's a badge of honor, because that was some of the stupidest shit I ever did. To waste my life, to where I hurt my mother, my father, my family, the community. It ain't nothing cool about that.
One of the things I wanted to ask, obviously the Crips have evolved a lot over the years, a lot of different sets and groups have formed. You know, one of these groups that is talked about quite a lot is kind of A-Tray, Gangster Crips. Can you tell me a little bit about your knowledge of how that part of the organization kind of emerged and kind of how they fit into kind of the wider community of Crips?
Well, as I told you, it's West Side, East Side, Compton, Watts. Everybody from that seed, now we branch it off. I helped found Gangster Crip, me, Frog, and that was the group of us that were already West Side Crips. Now we're staying on 83rd and Western. Now Tookie left the West Side Crips. Now we're starting the individual. Block, 111, Watergate, Underground, Payback, Raymond, Hoovers, East Side, Kitchens, Main Streets, East Coasters, Front Hoods, Compton, CCOs, Watts, Jordan. But on the West Side, now, we founded Gangster Crip. I went and wrote on the wall, Gangster Crip. Wasn't a big group. When we were the West Side Crip, you might have not had over 100 members at the beginning, and it started expanding. And the Gangster Crips went from Gangster Crip, then A-Tray Gangster Crip. In fact, you had a 4-7 Gangster Crips that were over there off Vermont, which is 03 Greto's father, which was Michael Jackson. 03 Greto, the rapper, that's my little nephew.
Really?
Yeah, his mother, Lisa Jackson, Michael Jackson, Melissa, and Jason, and Mikey. His daddy was original West Side Crip, as well as a founding member A-Tray. And from there, That was in 72. We 15 now. Then a murder happened at a school campus where me, Frog, a murder of a rival gang member happened on that. And that solidified that we here already, but they already had no prior to that. 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, before that murder, what we were about from back then. And it just kept expanding in the next group, Monster Cody, and on and so forth, Lil Sody, lot of violence, then the Rolling 60s, and everything else. So the Eight Trades always been one of the originals, but we never were known for going to start things. We usually was attacked in that area, and then we retaliate. Then we joined forces back then with the Hoovers. That was an alliance, and also with the Rolling 60s before that breakup in 1979, 80. Then that's when you got the umbrellas, the N-Hoods, the Nipsey Hussles, then you got the Monster Codys, and pretty much all the gangs of Los Angeles is aligned with either or. So that's the difference with Gangster, Crips as opposed to N-Hood. You either with us or against us.
So I've just got a couple more questions. This one's a bit more broad. You've been prominent through so many different eras of this culture. Where do you feel that, you know, the identity of the Crips are today, considering how much it's changed, and what kind of advice would you give to a young person maybe growing up in a Crip affiliated area as far as, you know, avoiding the streets or avoiding the negative sides of the culture, or how things have changed? You know, where do you see things are today compared to where they used to be, and how would you advise someone to navigate this sort of changed world?
Well, I see gangs today, as well as the music industry, it's being exploited. I don't think there's no, there are authenticities in the rap game and the culture, but I think I don't want to say watered down. It's just not the, and I don't see no purpose. I don't see no cause in being a gang member where you just talking about killing, fighting each other, robbing, slandering, dressing like hoes, homeless hoes, penniless pimps. And I'm not gonna knock them, like I say, but I look at it that this generation is fueled through drugs, sex, rock and roll, hip hop, NIL. They got it easy. They got a million ways to make money. And I think they look down on others that might be older than them. I think they disrespectful. I don't think they had the codes, the morals, or the principles of what we had back in the day. But like I say, that's their era. So I think that's one of the things. But as far as what I would tell the youth today, it's hard to turn your back when it's peer pressure and you got so many avenues. But at the end of the day, if I had to do it again, I would always listen to my mother. My mother, a mother, she gonna be there when you think your homies gonna be there when you go to jail. That ain't happening. That's not happening. And if you fool around and God forbid get a life sentence, which I done had twice by the grace of God, and I'm here, you don't holler out, old homeboy, old mama. When your ass know you can die in prison, you just say, oh God. And I never read the Bible in my life, but oh God, give me one more chance. And a lot of times you think you're only hurting yourself, but I promise you, as you get older, if you make it, you ain't gonna wanna look your mother in the eye and see the wrinkles and see the pain, and your mama look at you and say, you could have been with me and you went and did that. Then you, a lot of guys I know, 35, 40 years old, 40 years in prison, and they number one regret, we dragged our mother through the mud. They don't like that. So a lot of times these guys get out and they want to make amends to make their mother proud. Don't get in the way of these dudes that are trying to do that. A lot of them. And a lot of people think recidivism, because you caught a murder, usually somebody that committed a murder, usually it's in the act of passion. That's the first thing. And 99.9% of the time, they never go back to jail. But when you're a robber, jacker, or a drug dealer, you're gonna continuously go back and forth to jail. So at the end of the day, you don't wanna end up like the predicament I'm in and other ones, where you're too old to work, too young for Social Security, and you stuck, particularly in this state, to where when you got a record, a prior arrest record, you can't go get an apartment. They do background checks. You barely sell them, you can't get a job, you stuck. So if I'd have knew what I did then, I'd have been no one from a tax burden, where the taxpayers took care of me my whole life, to where I finally worked for an honest dollar. And I've had a lot of money in my life. Blew it. Fast money, come and go, asset forfeiture. So at the end of the day, just try to do something to help your fellow human being. Go without blinders to where it ain't no color line, and just treat people the way you want to be treated. And try to do something to give back. That's all I can tell you. Get your job. Get your education.
That's an amazing positive message to end on. So grateful for this conversation. Just for the final words, you know, I know that you're an accomplished author, you've got other documentaries you're working on. Do you want to just let the people know, you know, other things that they can look out for, that they should get your book, they should check out other things you're working on? You know, just let the people know that what you're working on and what you want them to follow up and look into once they've seen this, this piece.
Well, you know, I'm bored off of Instagram. A lot of things I'm shadowed, and they really keep me at low maintenance on these podcasts. But we have a movie coming out with Terry Schwab, Churchill, Terry Carney, and Ice-T, executive producer. That's called Stop the Violence World Epidemic. We think that's going to be big. Also, I'm a scout with I Support Sports, where we do NBA, WNBA, FIBA, NIL deals in dealing with basketball. If you think you got the talent, we do OTE, we doing semi-pro, we doing a lot of things, so we're into basketball. In fact, DJ Mustard is part of this sports organization. We got Save the Black Village, that's SBV, to where I'm on the board, and with this panel to where we're providing shelter, fostering for foster children, where we're reuniting. We got parents classes, we got a curricula. I'm with Credible Messenger, where we do restorative justice as well as redefining the community. That's in New York. Gloves Up, Guns Down, we with that. These are organizations that are major 501(c)(3)s, or organizations that are doing things all across the nation that I'm a part of. As far as giving, we have the book, The New Slave Ship, 3 Strikes You're In, You're Not Out, that I wrote. Also, we're writing an initiative to try to come back to California 3 strikes law, to where we feel other ones are still locked up unjustly. We're helping the homeless, mental health, we're providing housing, feeding, and things of this nature. And that's pretty much what I got going on.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of positive stuff. Thank you again for sitting down with me. It's been an amazing conversation, and just really grateful.